Hey y'all, Indy here. As you may know, I'm a bit of a Nintendo dweeb. I'm one of the 7 Wii U owners out there, and with the Nintendo Switch 2 on the horizon, I've been counting down the days to release and preparing for the launch in every way possible. I am ordering every accessory I need, determining what games I want to grab at launch, and saving every penny of my YouTube ad revenue to help pay for it. And when I make about $15 each month, I should be able to afford the $450 price tag in about 2.5 years. I guess share this video, subscribe, and watch my other stuff, and maybe I'll be able to afford this in 2 years instead. Yeah, what's that? Tariffs? Okay, so maybe I'm never gonna be able to afford it, but that's not gonna stop me from sharing my guide for everything you need to know about the Switch 2 launch, starting with pre-orders. As you might know, I'm based in the USA, so pre-ordering should be a simple... Hello?
Hey, so about those pre-orders, you're never gonna believe what just got delayed.
Maybe you're watching this in the future and pre-orders have already started. Maybe the Switch 2's even out. If that's the case, you can skip to a later section of the video. There's timestamps in the description if you need them. I collect Pokemon cards, so I've had to fistfight a fair amount of scalpers for them. Thankfully, I think that this launch is going to be a bit easier than trying to get Journey Together packs. Most retailers are limiting pre-orders to 1 per household, with the My Nintendo store going above and beyond to make sure that the Switch 2s end up in the right hands. But I'll get to that later. First off, I live in the USA, so this section will be focused on that. And almost all of this is up in the air. We don't even have a date for pre-orders yet thanks to Donnie T's tariff extravaganza. This could all be out of date by the time this video airs. That said, for an up-to-date guide on pre-ordering, I strongly recommend checking out the Deku Deals page linked in the description, and to follow Wario64 on Blue Sky. First retailer of note is Walmart, everyone's favorite department store, known for its well-kept aisles and friendly staff. Thankfully, you won't need to step foot in one to pre-order, as these should all be done online. What's notable is that Walmart claims that Switch 2 pre-orders will arrive before 9 AM on release day. That's my one worry about shipped pre-orders. I am always worried that it's not going to arrive on time, and this assuages those fears. If 9 AM on release day isn't good enough for you, Best Buy has you covered. They plan to open up at midnight EDT, so you can get your Switch 2 as soon as possible. If you're on the West Coast, that means you can get yours as soon as 9 PM. Best Buy tends to avoid in-person pre-orders, so you'll need to order online with in-store pickup to get yours. As of late, Best Buy has kept high-value items behind their drops feature, which requires a Best Buy account and the mobile app. If you're planning on picking up a Switch 2 from Best Buy, be sure that you're already set up with the Best Buy app and a My Best Buy account so that you're ready when pre-orders open. GameStop hasn't announced any plans to open at midnight, but I would be surprised if they don't. I got my Switch at a midnight release in 2017, and that feeling was electric. Midnight releases at game stores just hit different, you know? That said, I plan on pre-ordering from GameStop because they're trade-in deals. They're offering $175 for the Switch OLED, $125 for the Switch V1 and V2, and $100 for the Switch Lite. Considering that the Switch 2 is backwards compatible, trading in my older Switch is gonna hurt less than trading in the Wii U. I still get to keep my same library. I have a stock Switch Lite that I got for $50 on eBay, and an OLED that spent its life in the dock ever since I built a custom Switch Lite with the Retro Remake OLED screen. So I don't mind parting with these two so I can save close to $300 on my pre-order. I actually made a video about my Lite OLED if you want to check it out, but the TLDR is that my Lite now has a better OLED screen than the actual Switch OLED. You don't have to trade in your system when you make the pre-order. You should be able to come back later and add it. But GameStop's ad says that the promo will last until April 30th. That said, it might last a little longer considering that pre-orders have been pushed back. If you only have one Switch, make sure that you've got Nintendo Switch Online set up so you can back up your saves. But Pokemon and Animal Crossing data might be goners if you go this route. Animal Crossing has its own island backup system, and Pokemon can be stored in Pokemon Home. So even if you lose your save files there, you won't lose everything. The only other mass retailer of note would be Target, whose pre-order strategy is unclear. I have lucked out and gotten a PS5 from them in the past, so I wouldn't write them off just yet. Keep in mind that if you've got their Target Circle card, you can save 5% and get free shipping, and with a $450 console, you're gonna be saving over 20 bucks. The My Nintendo store is the best failsafe you could ask for though. You can only pre-order if you have a My Nintendo account with 50 hours of gameplay, at least 12 paid months of Nintendo Switch Online, and an active NSO membership. This is a great way to weed out the scalpers for sure. You might be up against them in every other pre-order opportunity, but this is for the Nintendo fans only. The reason that I suggest this as a failsafe is because pre-orders for this method won't start until May, and there are no guarantees of it arriving on release date. That's why my plan is to secure a pre-order elsewhere, but to fall back on this if all else fails. My actual initial plan was to get a Switch 2 while visiting Japan. I was going to be in Osaka for Pokemon Go Fest around that time anyway, so I could stay a little longer and get a new handheld. But unless you're fluent in Japanese, I strongly recommend not doing this. Switch 2 systems sold in Japan will retail at a lower price, but will be locked to Japanese as its only language and can only be paired with Japanese eShop accounts. There will be multi-language systems available, but those are going to be more expensive and only available online through the My Nintendo store. Probably not a reasonable option for tourists like me. So let's say it's June and you didn't manage to get a pre-order. What do? Well, first off, don't panic. Word is that retailers will be getting plenty of stock, but these claims are from anonymous retail employees, so that's why I have a plan just in case. Everyone's going to be visiting GameStop, Target, Best Buy, and Walmart for their Switch 2. If you want to try these places, I recommend checking in on the day before, especially if they have a midnight release planned. They might not be able to give you the exact numbers, but you can always ask if they'll have any extras beyond their pre-orders, or when to show up if they do have extras. Keep in mind, if they can't tell you, don't try forcing it out of them. Please be nice to retail employees. They're the backbone of our society, and I mean it 100%. But hey, if this idea doesn't work, try the road less traveled. Keep in mind the popularity of certain areas. If you live in a busy city center like I do, call around to the places a bit further away and you might have some luck. When the OLED launched and was sold out everywhere, I managed to snag one by cold calling a GameStop in a dead mall about an hour north of Seattle. That said, if you don't have any luck with the popular retailers, try some places that might not be on others' radars. Some grocery chains like Fred Meyer, Costco, Meijer, No Fred, and Sam's Club also carry video games. Heck, I've been to retailers like Staples that carried the Switch. Try some shops off the beaten path, and maybe you'll have some luck. And hey, if all else fails, Deku Deals and Wario64 can come in clutch and help you find one. Keep an eye on their pages for restocks. So you got yourself your Switch 2. Are you really gonna raw dog that system straight out of the box? No screen protector, extra controllers, extra storage, or other accessories? Nah, you wanna make this the best console experience possible. I'm gonna note, most of the items that I am grabbing, I am getting because I genuinely think they're must-haves. As a disclaimer, the Amazon links in my description are affiliate links, and I do have a referral code with Nixie, but the rest of these I have no stake in. Anything I mention because I genuinely think it's worth getting. In the Switch 2 box, you'll be getting the Switch 2 and Joy-Con 2s, along with the dock, charging brick, and Joy-Con 2 grip. One thing I didn't see anyone talk about is that it looks like there are back buttons on the grip, which I am so here for. It's so nice having buttons in an easier place to tap. Here's to hoping they're easily remappable. In fact, the new Pro controller looks to have these back buttons too. Another nice addition. It also adds a microphone, headphone slot, and the new C button. Plus, some folks who've gotten to try it early say that the D-pad is a marked improvement over the original Pro controller. That said, you don't need to upgrade to the new Pro controller. Nintendo Switch controllers will still work on the Switch 2, even on Switch 2 games. For controllers without a C button, you can access Game Chat with the home menu, and the controller's mic isn't a requirement when the Switch 2 mic can reportedly pick up sound from the entire room. Of course, older Joy-Cons won't be able to attach to the Switch 2 or use Switch 2 exclusive features, like mouse mode. So there's still some reason to pick up more Joy-Con 2s if you want a 4-player game with mouse controls. That said, I haven't seen anything from Nintendo about Joy-Con 2s coming in different colors, let alone being sold separately. One thing that I loved about the Switch was the ability for it to feel custom based on the Joy-Con attached, so I hope we see additional colors in the future. There is one Switch controller I definitely see myself using on the Switch 2, and that is the Nixie Warrior. Yes, there is an official GameCube controller coming, but it'll sell out fast, and I think that the Warrior might be a little more feature-rich. This is a controller so good that I have 3 of them. I go a little deeper on why the Warrior is great in my video review of it, but I can sum it up pretty quickly. The Nixie Warrior has Hall effect sticks, so no drift. You can swap out the stick tops for other designs and sizes, and you can even switch the stick gate to be octagonal like the original, or circular for games where you might want more than 8 directions. It's got micro switch clicky face buttons and analog triggers. Best part though, The Warrior can sync via Bluetooth, USB, or to the included GameCube dongle. That's right, this works on the actual GameCube too. Hey, I am editing this now, and I just found out that the GameCube controller for Switch 2 only works on the Nintendo Switch Online GameCube games. Nothing else on the Switch 2, and it won't work with the Switch 1. Whereas the Nixie Warrior works with the Switch 1 and Switch 2 for every game that supports the Pro Controller, along with the PC and the actual GameCube. So that's another point for the Nixie Warrior. This is my go-to controller for fighting games like Rivals of Aether, and this is how I'm gonna play Wind Waker on Switch 2. And well, if you end up grabbing one, code IndieAlpaca on Nixie's website can save you a couple bucks, and it supports my channel. Not every Switch 1 accessory is gonna be compatible though. If you thought you could use your old dock, you're out of luck. If you need a dock in every room where you'll play your Switch 2, additional docks will retail around $100. That's the cost of 4K gaming. Be sure that your HDMI cables are up to date as well. The original Switch's HDMI cable can't support 4K resolution or 120 frames per second, but the one included in the Switch 2 box should be just fine. The SD cards you've been using on your Switch? Odds are you'll need a new one for your Switch 2. The Switch 2 only supports SD Express cards, which have a higher read and write speed. They're significantly more expensive, but odds are they'll go down in price in a few years like SD cards always do. When the Wii launched, I could get a 1 gig SD card for 20 bucks, and I thought that was a steal. The 256 gigabytes in the Switch 2 should have you covered for a few games, but if you need more space, not many retailers seem to have Express SD cards yet. Amazon has a few, but they've been on backorder ever since the Switch 2 announcement. I did notice that GameStop has their own Express cards set to launch alongside the Switch 2. This is the only place I've seen them in stock, so if you want to be prepared, that's where you'll find them. The first thing I do before using a new piece of tech is apply a screen protector. Taking the Switch 2 in and out of that dock, along with just general travel, is just begging for a scratch, and I am not going to spend half a grand on a console just to ruin that pretty screen. You can already find plenty of screen protectors online. If you're getting a Switch 2, just order a screen protector now so you've got it ready when you need it. If you plan on using video for game chat or want to take advantage of Mario Party Jamboree's iToy style minigames, you'll want to grab a camera for your Switch 2. The official one retails at 50 bucks, but there's a hoary one that's been floating around that's shaped like a piranha plant. I want that one because it's cute. That said, you might not even need one of these. It sounds like the Switch 2 might work with existing webcams. I'm just not sure what the requirements are yet. Imagine if you could plug an iToy into this. We'd really take it full circle. The last thing I consider a must-get for the Switch 2 is the Satisfy Zen Grip 2. For the past 5 years, I have not been able to play without a Satisfy grip. While the $50 price tag is daunting, or $70 with a case, trust me when I say that this grip is worth every penny. It adds some serious ergonomics to handheld play, allowing you to play comfier and for longer. Plus, it fits in the dock. Their cases are solid quality too. I had the case included with my Zen Grip Ronin, and it's been my daily driver for traveling with my OLED. I am by no means affiliated with Satisfy, but the YouTuber Wood from Beat 'em Ups is. So you can use his code BeatEmUps20 to save 20% and it'll support his channel. There's even a bundle themed around him that includes a more colorful version of the Zen Grip 2, in yellow and blue. My two favorite colors. There is still a black one for you edgy folks out there though. Also, Satisfy, for real? I love your products. Hit me up if you ever want to collab. Please, I am begging you, I've got to afford the Switch 2 somehow. Now you've got your Switch 2, and all the accessories you could ever need. Your screen protector is neatly applied, your system is resting nicely in its new grip, and you're finally ready to game. Let's talk about what you can play at release. First of all, nearly all of your existing Switch library will work on the Switch 2. It might even play better than it did on the original. It's always nice starting off your new console with a decent library. However, Nintendo has a list of 100 plus games that currently won't play on the system, but when you've got over 12,000 that do, it stings a little less. Sure, I'm sad about Another Crab's Treasure and Felix the Cat not working at launch. The true tragedy is the loss of the Nintendo Labo VR Toy-Con, since the Switch 2 won't fit in the device. If you want to play something brand new though, the first likely candidate for your Switch 2 library is Mario Kart World. The Switch 2 has only 2 SKUs, one with Mario Kart and one without, so you can bet most folks are going to opt for the former.
You have Mario Kart World! It came with your system!
If you don't nab it from the bundle, it'll be one of the most expensive titles on the Switch 2, retailing at $80 USD. The amount of content looks impressive though, so I'm hoping it earns that price. After all, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe retailed at $60, and the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pack for the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe game for the Nintendo Switch family of systems retailed at $25. So, if World even has a similar amount of content, it'll be worth it. I'm not going to go over all the information you already know about Mario Kart World, so I'm just going to say it looks pretty and you can play as a cow. I'm buying it 100%, I'm in. While that $80 price tag looks daunting, it likely won't be the standard. In an interview with the Washington Post, Nintendo America President Doug Bowser referred to the cost as variable pricing, stating that they plan to price games based on the development involved, content, depth, and replayability. Donkey Kong Bonanza, the other heavy hitter from the Switch 2 Direct, is what they call a premium game, and that'll retail for the standard $70. I hate price bumps as much as the next Taka, but this seems overdue. If you check an inflation calculator, $60 in 2007, the standard price of a game, would be about $80 in 2025 money. Costs to develop games continue to climb, so I'm thankful it's in line with inflation and not outpacing it. Going from the pack-in to the should-have been a pack-in is Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Even though it'll retail for $10, it seems like $10 too many. While Astro's Playroom came bundled with the PS5 and made for a cute adventure that showed off the PS5's strengths, Welcome Tour seems to be a cross between a manual and an ad for something you already bought. It's got a handful of minigames that showcase the mouse, the rumble, and the system's output resolution, but it feels even more basic than Wii Play's lineup. If you plan on getting this, why? In a turn of events that even I couldn't see coming, Deltarune will be coming to the Switch 2 on release day. While Chapters 1 and 2 were free, Chapters 3 and 4 will drop on June 5th, with all future chapters included with the $25 price tag. This is going to drop on every single platform though, so if you don't want it on Switch 2, you can still get it elsewhere. That said, what if we could use mouse controls in this? That would be a game changer for those bullet hex segments of the game. I am a Tetris diehard, but I don't see myself grabbing Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S. 2 already felt identical to the first Puyo Puyo Tetris. I can't imagine there being a need for a re-release of it. Maybe we'll see some kind of upgrade for folks who own 2 on Switch? That said, if you like puzzle games and somehow have never played Puyo Puyo Tetris, this is a phenomenal game. Everyone should have at least one PPT game on their Switch. Fortnite will also have a Switch 2 version at launch. I am so excited to have a portable version without the drawbacks of playing on hardware nearly a decade old. My PS5 has been mostly used for Fortnite, but I could see my Switch 2 becoming my dedicated Fortnite machine. That said, I mostly play Festival. Look, I'm a Rock Band kid. I love my music games. One of the best games to drop at the Switch 1's original launch was Fast Remix, a hovercraft racer similar to F-Zero, and they are back with Fast Fusion on Switch 2. Sure, you've got F-Zero GX through Switch Online, but don't sleep on this if you're a fan of the genre. And here is a rapid fire of other games that drop at launch. Hitman World Assassination looks to be more of Agent 47, nothing wrong with that. I am trans, so I don't have much to say about Hogwarts Legacy. Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess is dripping with aesthetic and I need to play it, especially if this version includes the Okami cosmetics. Yakuza 0 looks great. I love Like a Dragon, so maybe I need to see the series' roots. Split Fiction looks cool, haven't played it, but I'm happy to see it on more consoles. Survival Kids froze the Switch 2 Direct stream, and that's all I really know about it. Didn't even know it was slated for launch. Now you know too. Cyberpunk 2077 is one of the biggest surprises on the launch game list. A few years back, it wouldn't even run on a PlayStation, and now it's running on a handheld? Get out of here! Civilization isn't a game I've played much of, but Civ 7 seems like the perfect fit with the new Switch 2 mouse controls. Rune Factory Gardens of Azuma looks gorgeous. I'm not familiar with the series, but I might need to check it out based on what I've seen. I know nothing about Nobunaga's Ambition Awakening Complete Edition, other than the Pokemon Conquest was a crossover with that series, and I want another Pokemon Conquest game. Arcade Archives 2 Ridge Racer drops on Switch 2 at launch, but I can't imagine why this couldn't just be a Switch 1 game. The last 2 launch titles left come on a special new type of cartridge from Nintendo, the Download Key Card. These cartridges don't actually have any game data on them, they're just a key to let you download and play the game. Compared to other cartridges, it is a nightmare for game preservation. When the eShop goes down in the distant future, these are going to be useless hunks of plastic and the games on them will be lost to time. Compared to code-in-a-box games though, it's a blessing. Unlike those single-use codes tied to one account, these can be resold, lent to friends, and might even avoid region locking like codes are. These are also a boon for developers. The bigger your game data is, the bigger the cartridge storage you need, which can raise manufacturing costs. This can allow for cheaper manufacturing, but at the cost of players' console storage space. There's also a case to be made for games that are constantly online and frequently updated. If the game were complete on cart, it'd be obsolete after a few updates, rendering the cartridge kinda useless. That's why I think Street Fighter 6 was a perfect pick for the download key cartridge. This is a game receiving frequent balance patches and new characters, so going semi-digital makes sense. While I haven't played Street Fighter 6 yet, I might pick it up on Switch since there are reports from FGC Pros that it is a great port. The other download key cart, however, makes no sense. Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster. This is a remaster of a 3GB 3DS game, and no amount of HDness could make me believe that this wouldn't fit on a normal 64GB cart. And I don't see it as the type of game to receive frequent updates, especially since the original is a decade old. And I don't think it's getting updates. That said, Bravely Default is a modern classic, so I don't mind seeing a re-release for players that missed it on 3DS. If you're a JRPG fan that wants to revisit it, or never got to play the original, it's worth checking out. Certain titles for the Nintendo Switch are getting updates to make them run natively on Switch too. These include updates to performance, resolution, and frame rate, but could even include new features or content. You can buy these versions outright, but if you have the original Switch version, you can upgrade to the Nintendo Switch 2 version, whether you own the physical or digital version. All signs point to there being 3 prices for the Nintendo Switch 2 edition upgrades: free, $10, or $20. At launch, there's only going to be 2 Nintendo Switch 2 edition games: The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Both of these fall into that $10 upgrade bucket, but they improve the game's performance and offer new connectivity with the Nintendo Switch phone app that lets you use your device as a pseudo GPS. Thankfully, if you're subscribed to the Nintendo Switch Online plus Expansion Pass, you'll get these updates for free. Bigger updates that include new content will be closer to $20. This includes the Mario Party Jamboree update, which offers new modes that take advantage of the Switch 2's new Joy-Con and camera, along with Kirby and the Forgotten Lands update, which includes the new Star-Crossed World expansion. While these come at a slightly steeper cost, you're not just paying for better performance, you're getting a significant chunk of DLC as well. 12 other games are set to receive free updates, but the contents of these updates aren't well known yet. These include ARMS, Link's Awakening, Echoes of Wisdom, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and Super Mario Odyssey, among others. I love Pokemon Violet, so I'm excited to explore Paldea in a new way on Switch 2. Pokemon Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4 are slated to get Nintendo Switch 2 editions as well, but we don't have any word on their contents or pricing. There will be boxed Nintendo Switch 2 editions of some games, but unless it's important for you to have that red cartridge, it might actually be more cost efficient to just buy the Switch game and upgrade separately. In fact, I've gone hunting for a few Switch games that are going to be getting the 2 treatment as well, so that I can nab some good deals on them. If you want to go digital, the Nintendo Switch Online voucher system is an easy way to save a few bucks, and nearly every game with an upgrade's eligible. It's 2 games for $100, a savings of $20 if you get 2 $60 games, or $30 if you get Tears of the Kingdom and a $60 game. If you can find eShop cards on sale, that'll drive the price even cheaper. Newegg and Costco frequently have sales that make $100 of eShop credit cost closer to $90, getting you 2 games for $45 each. If you like keeping things more physical though, keep an eye on discount retailers like Whoop. I recently got Mario Party Jamboree from there for around $40, but they also had Mario Odyssey and Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for those prices too. Considering that some of these games getting Switch 2 editions are a few months to a few years old, many retailers might include them in sales. Even when they're not on direct discount, watch out for some buy X get Y free sales on used game stores like GameStop. Even check places like eBay or Mercari. Folks might be getting rid of their copies at a discount too. No matter how big of a discount you get, it'll likely be less than the price you'll find for those boxed Switch 2 editions. So there we have it. We've covered about pretty much everything you need to know about getting a Switch 2 at launch. We've covered the basics of pre-orders, strategies for grabbing one at launch, and the accessories and games that you should keep an eye out for. So what do you think? Are you grabbing a Switch 2 at launch? Who's gonna be your Mario Kart main? Anything I missed that you think I should have covered? Let me know in the comments. In the meantime, I'm also looking forward to the future of this system. While I think the new screen looks great, I really hope we see an OLED model in the future. If not, I hope Retro Remake, the creators of the Switch Lite OLED mod, have an OLED mod planned for the Switch 2 as well. Oh yeah, YouTube thinks you'll probably like this video, but personally, I want to show you this one. It's the review of that controller that I was hyping up earlier. Also, shout out to the people who support my channel. You rule. Okay, bye now. Catch you in the next one. Bye. See you later.